Buff Nation, what is going on? Hope you guys are having a wonderful college football Saturday. Buffs get the win 34-7. Man, did we bring it, Carter? Did we bring it? We're going to break all this down. Y'all be sure to go subscribe to Let's Talk Buffs. Links in the comment, as well as like, subscribe, and comment to this show. That's really going to help everything that we're building over here. But man, Carter, how are you feeling after just a wonderful performance on the road? Buffs moved to 5-2. How about that, man?
Yeah, already topped last year's mark. It feels good. Definitely a much needed bounce back win after Kansas State last week. And we got that, stayed remotely healthy. I know Travis didn't play in the second half just for precautionary reasons, but stayed relatively healthy. And now we get to come back home and take on Cincinnati in another big game, but feeling great.
Yes. And this game, like, again, it just meant so much, I think, to the team, but also, like, when I was previewing this game personally, there was a lot of things that I just want to make sure that Colorado went out and did. One was, Travis Hunter played good, have that Heisman type of play, shutting down Tech McMillan. Shedeur Sanders obviously needs to prove that he's a much better quarterback than Noah Fafita. Even, not a sharpest game or whatever, but when the moments matter the most, he was on it. I thought that he still had a really, really good game. I'm not a believer in the 5'10" quarterback. That's just not my thing. And it was great to see this defense come out here. And what I was hoping when I was talking about yesterday on here was that I wanted this defense, I wanted this team to make Arizona football players feel like quitting. And ran on their own house at homecoming in front of all the recruits. That I think they pretty much. We gave them the belt, man. We gave them the belt. And really, it was another one of these games where, I don't know. Maybe this is the first one, like, outside of CSU where I felt this way. It's like, man, we're up 14-0. I feel like we got this thing on lock. I love to see this team stacking really solid performances, week after week after week. I'm just feeling fantastic. 5-2. You no longer can say that we got the same record that we had last year. None of that. No, it can go away. We're one win away from bowl eligibility, and we're still in the thick of it when it comes to the Big 12 title race. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I better not see any more people saying 4-8, 4-8, 4-8 because it's done. But yeah, every Big 12 game is needed. I think they still are very well control their own destiny. You need a couple teams to lose, but control what you can control and keep stacking W's, and we might be headed to the Big 12 championship. But it seems like they're really kind of catching their footing, and that was a big bounce back game, and just. It seemed like Arizona stood no chance. I didn't quite understand the decision to come out on the first play and kick an onside to start the game. But
let's talk about that. What were you thinking when that happened, man?
I mean, when I first watched, I was like, "Oh shit, oh, okay." And then Brandon Hood jumped on it. I'm like, "Why would you do that?" I mean, the only chance you have with CU in this game, if you're Arizona, is to get into a shootout with them. And the last time CU started their game with an opening drive touchdown was North Dakota State. They have started slow every game since then. Why would you give Shedeur that starting field position? It didn't make much sense to me. And just like that, they were in a hole. And I mean, that's something I would be more open to coming out the second half. Surprise them in the second half. But doing it on the first kick, it didn't make much sense because there's a lot of game left. And I mean, with this offense, one touchdown, if they were to go and score is really nothing. So it didn't make much sense to me. And CU capitalized on it.
Man, it was definitely surprising for me to see because I just feel like that's just a scared move, man. Like when your team's not that good, it's like, all right, man, I'm even going to start this thing out with the trick play because it's not like Arizona's defense. It's not elite or anything where it's like, man, I totally believe in this defense, even if we give them a short field. It was more just like head scratching. Why? And I have been pretty vocal, I feel like, throughout this offseason that I just don't trust Brett Brennan. And I got to say, man, with all the Arizona fans talking over the last year since this last game, man, this feels sweet. It feels so vindicating. And, man, our pass rush got after it. Thanks so much, D, for the $2 super chat, for the cup of coffee. Really appreciate it. CU's defensive line stunts were NFL-like. Carter, thoughts on just the defensive pass rush? I mean, it was menacing. I'll go ahead and pull up the box score here so we can give credit to like all 1 million players that got a sack today. But this was great, man. We didn't just have BJ, always penetrating, Green penetrating. We had everybody penetrating.
Yeah, BJ Green talked about it on Romy Bean's show that she does every week, that the floodgates are open now. I'm coming. And then he did. He came and got 2 sacks today, 1 forced fumble. So, I mean, and then we saw Keaton Wade at the start of the game get a big sack. And I think he ended with 2, I think, right?
Yes.
He ended with 2. So, I mean, it was awesome to see. I think 7 total sacks on the day for the pass rush, and they just did an unbelievable job. Sam Okunlola was getting after Fafita, and they were bringing big pressure. Like Shiloh came and hit Fafita early on in the game and really laid him out. But man, they were making it tough on Fafita.
Yes, and shout out to everybody who got the sacks. So Keaton Wade and Samuel Okunlola with 2 apiece, and then you had 1 sack each from Nakai Hill-Green, Arden Walker, and BJ Green. So
BJ only
got a plethora of other quarterback hits, pressures, hurries. I mean, they were constantly in the backfield, and that's just a beautiful thing, man. With how, when I was talking about my keys to the game, I was like, let's get out to a lead and let's put the ball in Fafita's hands. Like, that might seem weird, even saying with the season that he had last year, but it just proved to be the winning recipe, getting out to a nice double-digit lead. They weren't able to rely on their running game, but they didn't even have like a great efficiency from the ground. Connolly and Riscano both under 4 yards a carry. And then Noah Fafita, 16 of 26 for 138 yards, 5.3 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and he had a fumble, right, as well? Yeah. Lost 1. So, man, the defense was all over the place. Who else really stood out to you on that side of the ball during this performance?
Yeah, I mean, Colton Hood ends this game with an interception, so that's back-to-back weeks for a Colton Hood interception. It's nice to see him playing really well in Travis's absence. But man, Nakai Hill-Green just keeps playing unbelievable. There was that one play on the goal line where the running back was probably like a quarter of a yard from scoring, and Nakai Hill-Green just hits him and just straight backwards. I mean, they ended up scoring, but Nakai Hill-Green played amazing. And 7 total sacks is amazing number for this team. But there were so many plays where they should have had a sack. Like Fafita just escaped. I mean, he's a solid quarterback. I mean, he runs really well, and he's escaped a ton of sacks. So that number could have even been higher. It was just an amazing game from Livingston and from the entire defense, really.
Yes. Shout out to Dante for the $10 super chat. Thank you again so much for supporting what we got going on over here. It means a lot. He said we should be ranked in the top 25. We have the best defense we have the best defense in the country, I think is what you're trying to say. The best quarterback, the best receiving group, the best player, and the best coaching staff. CU rules, man. I love it. Well, I think we definitely took another step towards being ranked. We'll see what happens after this. But, man, like, I'm just so proud of this team has improved so much, even from the beginning of the season, to see not only guys like Cash Cleveland get out on the field and hold his own, right? Like, who would have thought that? Who would have thought that, Carter? But also, I just love the way that this team bounces back. Carter, let's talk a little bit about, like, when Hank Zielinski snapped that thing too early, that's like a thing like last year or with some other past CU teams where that could just be a momentum changing play to where the game is lost, you check out. And man, what happened? Right, like 2 plays later, was it BJ Green comes up, sacks Noah Fafita, forces the fumble, Lajohntay Bentley gets it. That was great to just put the momentum back in our team's favor. Now, Shedeur threw a pick into like triple coverage, but that's not the point of this story. The point of this story was the defense stepping up instead of just like going back and saying, woe is me, can't believe we got to go out there again, do it. There's just different energy to this team, and that I really just want to give the coaching staff a lot of credit for how they've continued to bounce back. And this was just a big bounce back win after a tight, disappointing loss last weekend.
Yeah, it seems like anytime the defense is struggling and needs the offense to pick them up, the offense does so. And when anytime the offense is struggling, the defense needs to pick them up, they do so. This team is super cohesive. Prime has talked about it when he made the decision to go stay at the team hotel a little bit more than usual, and how much guys are gelling and all the rules in the cafeteria about not being on your phones, talk to each other. It's really paying off. I mean, this team really is a family as much as these coaches preach it. I mean, you see programs all around preach family, 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 but this team truly is a family, and they're all super pumped for each other when any one of them makes a play. And it's really paying off what Prime's been doing.
Yes, no doubt. We'll take this other super chat too. Again, thank you, Dante M. And this really does mean a lot for the $5 coming our way as well. He says, Livingston's gone after this year. No way. He isn't a head coach next year. No way. Hey, we'll have to see how all this plays out, but you can't help but be impressed by the turnaround of this defense this year. What did you think just about how they came and played today? You've mentioned Colton Hood. You've mentioned the pass rush. Is there anybody else that you feel like we're forgetting to talk about in this defensive just domination against the Wildcats?
I mean, the whole defense really played amazing. They played a lot more zone than usual, and that was kind of a testament to Fafita's rushing ability. So, I mean, just if I'm going to give props, anybody give more props to Robert Livingston for being super prepared for this game and only allowing 7 points. That 7 points coming in the first quarter, 0 after that, even when the offense turned it over and gave them opportunities to score. They really never had the chance to do so. I know they had a missed kick, but this defense, I mean, if this defense plays like that in any game, there is no way we're not winning.
Yeah. We should be at the minimum. We should be in every single game moving forward, and this is a great way to start. The second half of the season. Oh man, that game against Cincinnati might be a little bit more challenging than what we thought it was going to look like 6 months ago, Carter. But feeling great, getting a solid road win, and I want to point this out. Guys. This rarely happens with the Buffs. Now, I know it was kind of skewed towards the end, but numbers are numbers. We're gonna point this out. 34 passing attempts to 39 rushing attempts. 148 yards on the ground. That is a thing of beauty. We ran well enough to keep the defense on their heels. And let's go through the rushing numbers here. Shedeur Sanders, 7 carries, 6 yards. Isaiah Augustave, 14 for 53 and a touchdown. Charlie Hoppertall had a 39-yard run, 7 carries, 53 yards down. Hayden, 6 for 35 and a 27-yard run that was a thing of beauty. Michael Welsh, 1 for 8. We ran the ball so well in short yardage, and all these backs had their moments, man. I felt like they all did. But what was your thought on the running game today?
Yeah, I was pretty excited to see Augustave get the start coming into this game. I thought he deserved that. But I'm kind of glad they spread it out. I know Mike has been dealing with some injuries, so we haven't seen as much as him as normal. But I thought Isaiah ran well. He did what we needed him to do. And then Dallin came in at times and and had that explosive run. And Charlie was the one that, finished the game off. Shedeur got a rushing touchdown. Shedeur should have had 2 rushing touchdowns. They called that one down. He was definitely in, and that led to the Augustave touchdown. But it's just nice to see a usable rushing attack. It wasn't great by any means, but it was what we needed when we needed it, and it was just solid all around.
It's just it's serviceable. It gets the job done. It doesn't need to be anything sexy, nothing like that, man. I'm really just proud of getting back to balance. In the words of Pat Shurmur, we ran the damn ball this weekend. It was great, but I mean, Carter, I got my 2 jersey on. I got my Shedeur Sanders jersey on. He was fantastic. He was on it, especially in that first quarter when we needed to score on those drives. We needed to take advantage of the opportunities that we had created. And might I just say, beautiful throws to Wester, beautiful throws and a catch, to Will Sheppard. But I got to say, man, Coach Prime showed some freaking stones right there, going for it on 4th and 10. Was that to go up instead of going up 17-0 or whatever? They're like, nah, man, we're going for it on 4th and 10 on like the 30-yard line. And I think he found Wester across the field. But let's break down what we saw from the passing game today. What really stood out to you, Carter?
Man, that Shedeur Sanders and Lajohntay Wester connection is just building. Those two have a great relationship on the field. Wester had that after that first drive was looking a little shaky. Shedeur connects with him for that big play to set up the touchdown. But Wester's just been unbelievable so far this year. I mean, 8 receptions for 127 yards, didn't get the touchdown, but that 46-yard reception is what really what we really needed on that first drive. And Will Sheppard getting that touchdown, that ball could not have been in a perfect spot. So this passing attack just keeps clicking and spreading the ball around. Drelon, Travis, even our tight end, Savell Small, is getting a little action. So this passing attack is just clicking.
What do you think of that little – it's like an Andy Reid staple at this point. And it's like, man, as Pat Shurmur being an Andy Reid disciple, about time we saw something like this. Maybe it helps that we have an O-line that can also block decently too, but doing that little like misdirection, little pitch play to Drelon Miller for the touchdown. I mean, that was just a thing of beauty. I feel like you see those like shovel passes all the time with different offenses near the goal line. And that's the type of play calling that I really like. I think is really clever. I loved it. Lajohntay Wester, man, he is just so special. You can guard Travis, but again, then you got to be okay getting beat by some of these other guys. And Wester, Will Sheppard, man, these guys really stepped up. Maybe more Travis and Jimmy were more like decoys in terms of their receptions and their statistical numbers. But again, it just goes to show the amount of depth that we have at the receiving position. One guy goes down, next man up. I couldn't be happier to see how our passing game was today. And did we give up? How many sacks did we give up today?
I think just 1, really.
Let me look at it. Oh, we gave up 3. No,
we gave up 3.
No, we gave up 1. 3 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, baby. So goes to show again, this offensive line is improved. It is improved. Credit to Coach Lajohntay, man. I love to see that. Hey, what do you think of?
Yeah, can we talk about the offensive line and these changes?
Yes. What? Just give me your thoughts, Carter.
Okay, so we come out starting with Tyler Brown at left guard, Kareem Harden right guard, Phillip Houston right tackle, Hank Zielinski, Seaton, the usual, the guys that started last week.
Yeah.
Then we end up changing Benson at right guard, Mayers at left guard. Then coming out of half, we are back to Tyler Brown and Kareem Harden. And then you see Benson come in. And then you see Hank Zielinski's come out for Cash Cleveland. And then you see Mayers come back in. We gave up 1 sack, but this cannot keep happening. the stuff we saw last week with the stunts, how much K-State killed us with their stunts. How you beat stunts is chemistry and communication on this offensive line. If we keep swapping these guys in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out, that chemistry, there's none of it. So we gotta figure out a O-line that we can stick with, or it's gonna bite us like it did against K-State. And we're getting too deep into the season to keep shuffling these guys around. I understand if someone's having a bad day, but we can't keep doing it like 4 or 5 times. So they gotta figure that out somehow.
Yeah, it was crazy to see. But yeah, like it was a cool game to watch because I felt like everybody played pretty well. And credit to Shedeur. He was somebody that I think that we both spoke pretty candidly about after last game about how he just had a bad game against KSU with his pocket presence. It just felt like it was terrible in some spurts. And he was so good with getting the ball out, man. In this game, he was decisive. He was stepping up. He wasn't holding on to the ball for too long. It was just beautiful, man, to see how he bounced back, how our offensive line bounced back, really everybody. And I mean, how could we forget also about Shedeur Sanders, man? What did you think of his play? I thought that he was pretty good today and had some nice bounce back moments here and some good open field tackling for the Buffs as well.
Yeah, no Shiloh missed tackles that I remember. He had that big hit on No Fafita. Just a much needed bounce back game for him. Pretty happy for him. He needed it.
Yeah, and a PBU as well. So that's always a thing of beauty, man. And let's give credit to the defense as well because Tet McMillan he was barely around in today's game, man. 5 receptions, 38 yards. You had 5 guys catch passes for the Arizona Wildcats. And again, their team averaged 3.1 yards a carry, which is definitely what you want to see from this defense, man. Colton Hood, I know you mentioned him earlier, Carter. I just want to give him a shout out. I thought that he played really, really good coverage today, and it was great to see him get another interception. And man, does this guy just always got to end up like 5 yards away from the goal line, man? I want him to take one to the house. He's been so close 2 times in the last 2 games.
Yeah, him and the entire secondary played a great game. Even with Travis's absence, they really made McMillan just not a factor in this game. And it's really a big testament to the pass rush being able to get to Fafita. But overall, the defense, I mean, how could you not be excited about the way this team played?
Man, this is exactly what I want to see, man. Again, we saw after Nebraska, the team bounce back and get on a nice run. And I think like it's kind of like a stock, man. You'll have some up weeks, then you kind of have a down week like what we had against Kansas State, but it wasn't anything like what we saw our low point earlier in the year against Nebraska. Like I think overall, like this team is trending in the right direction, and to see them put together just again, not perfect, but how often do you get a perfect performance from a football team? I would say that this was just as complete as any of the other, victories that we've had against UCF or Colorado State, to where, I mean, the game was over. It felt like it was over by the time the third quarter ended.
Yeah, I mean, they literally had no life after the first quarter, it seemed like. I mean, we kept hitting Fafita. We were scoring. Like, I mean, it was like damn near stop time at halftime. But they kept Shedeur in, and obviously was smart because you never really know what's going to happen. But there was never a moment after that onside kick where I really wasn't confident we were going to win this game.
Oh, man. Oh, shout out as well. The broadcast was pronouncing his name, Jordan Onavue. I usually say Onavue, but I'll take the broadcast on this one. Onavue. Nice to see him get in the game. I know Staub targeted him in the end zone, and I think Shedeur threw one of his first passes to him. That was like a screen play right by the goal line. I hate that play call, but it is what it is. It was nice to see him get on the field. I feel like he held his own. I'll have to go back and look on the replay to see like how he did in like blocking and stuff like that. But yeah, and I'm just really proud of this team, seeing everybody step up, man. Like Carter, before the season started, if I told you, we'd be going into Cincinnati game at 5-2, man, how would you be feeling?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm still stinging about that Nebraska loss because I wanted that one bad. But obviously, how could you not be fine with 5-2? Because I said at the start of the show, I think they still control their destiny in the Big 12, and I want to see them in the Big 12 championship with the chance to get some trophies.
Man, yes, and oh man, this year has just been so much fun, and the Big 12 guys. If you don't got anything else going on some of these nights, watch a Big 12 after dark game. That game with BYU and Oklahoma State yesterday, even though I think we were all cheering for Oklahoma State to give BYU a conference loss, but just cinema, just entertaining. It's a lot of back and forth football, and eventually, man, I feel like some of these teams at the top, whether that's maybe Texas Tech will lose to Baylor today. We'll see what happens with BYU, but they're vulnerable as well. I really do feel like if Colorado can take care of business, it would not shock me to find them in the college or in the Big 12 championship with a chance to go to the college football playoff with the 10-2 record. Like I really do feel like we can win out if we just continue to bring this type of energy every single game. And this is year 2 of the Coach Prime rebuild, man. Doesn't this team just feel so much different watching them, man? It's a pleasure. It's a treat. I love it, man.
It is a good time to be a Buff fan. And Baylor with 2 minutes to go is up 59-35 over Texas Tech.
Let's go. Okay.
So there's another winless or lossless conference opponent that is going to get their first loss.
Man, lovely. Well, Carter, I think that's just about it, man. Like this was a great game. Oh, I also had to say, man, I was able to go to the UTSA game this afternoon, so I was watching the Buffs while also watching UTSA, watching Buffs legend quarterback Owen McCown play for the Roadrunners here in San Antonio. They ended up getting the dub, which was great. But I also was sitting, I thought we had box seats, but it wasn't. We were in the 4th row, man, right behind FAU sideline. Guess who was sitting right in front of me? None other than Cason Wiseman, man. So we had 2 CU quarterbacks on the field for this game, and that was pretty fun to see. So, yeah, I guess any last thoughts, Carter, on this matchup? Any ways to summarize this victory?
No, just good win. Just keep stacking them.
Yes, just keep stacking them, and Travis get healthy. We got 1 game against Cincinnati, guys, and then we hit our next bye. So we're in a very good position to be at close to full strength by the time we really hit the meat of our schedule, and it's going to be very important. So what we got 5 games left. We're here at 5-2. Let's go 1-0 next week, man, and really put ourselves in that Big 12 title, top tier, I don't know, contender list or whatever, man. We're right there. So everybody who has tuned in today, thank you so much. Again, big shout out to Dante M for the $15 in the super chats. You're too kind. D as well. Thank you so much for the $2. Go subscribe to Let's Talk Buffs in the comments. Like on the way out. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as always, y'all, go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
All right.